Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Orient Live. The O's are back in action here in E10 after a few tough away games against some top teams as well. 3 points from those three and looking to get back to winning ways today, and it's Charlton Athletic who travel to the Gotham Group Stadium. But two other people who have also travelled to the Gotham Group Stadium today is Brendan Pitcher and Glenn Wilkie to join me for this one, and feels good to be back home, doesn't it?
Certainly does, yeah. Get a nice home game under our belts after all the travelling in the last week or so. And hopefully I always say hopefully, don't we? It's just one of those things with Orient. Hopefully we get the desired result and performance that we deserve.
It's tough though, isn't it? Because it's been a relentless fixture period. Feels like it's Christmas all over again.
Yeah, I think that's my only concern today. I think all being equal, I'd fancy yesterday, but the fact that since that Man City game, we've played Saturday, Tuesday every week, and not just that, the quality of teams we faced, especially recently, and then playing with 10 men against the best team in the league on Tuesday for about 85 minutes on top of that, it's going to make it a struggle compared to Charlton, who have had a completely free week. It's a massive game and they've had a chance to really prepare for it properly. That's my only concern today.
Let's not make excuses too early doors, Brendan, but it is indeed a massive, almost a 6-pointer today, with both sides looking for some vital points to really propel them into the playoff positions. But we're confident, aren't we, Orient fans, seeing as Richie Wellens is at the wheel. So let's hear from him and get his thoughts ahead of this game.
And how nice is so back at home? We've obviously had 3 trips, the 3 really long trips as well, back at home in front of a packed out crowd. How much can they help us, given that we played, if you include stoppages on Tuesday, well over 90 minutes, a man light?
Yeah, for me there needs to be a change in our dynamic now as a club. You know, it's great being involved in these games, and we've progressed over the last 2 or 3 years to get involved in these types of games where we're going for the playoffs. Now it needs to change. Now we need to expect to win these games, and the supporters are a massive part of that. So again, bring the atmosphere, bring it like you did for the last 4 or 5 home games. Make it a difficult place for the opposition to come, because we want to get in the groove now of making these games winnable for us, making it that we are a really established, League One team that can finish anywhere between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So we obviously want them tick on them top 6 spots. But like I say, to be an established League One club now that is fighting for playoffs is a massive achievement, and where we've come from. Now the next step is getting in them. So let's change the dynamic of thinking if we can get in there and winning games like tomorrow will go a long way to changing that dynamic.
And aside from Jack, how's the rest of the squad looking?
Yeah, Sean Clare will come back into the squad. He's close. Jack Simpson won't make it. So in terms of the squad from the other night, it'll be Jack Curry out, Sean Clare in.
Right then, time to take a look at how the O's are shaping up as they go on their hunt to get back to winning ways. And starting in goal, as always, it's our superstar. It's Josh Keeley, and in front of him in the back line, Ethan Galbraith is at right back, and Jaden Sweeney comes in for Jack Curry, who's serving that 3-match ban after an unsuccessful appeal. Romani Edmonds-Green and Brendan Cooper partner up at the heart of defence, and then Darren Prattley is the captain today. Well, he's the captain every day, and he partners Jordan Brown in midfield with Sonny Perkins, Jamie Donnelly and Dylan Markanday ahead of them too, and then leading the line and leading that press as he does so well is Charlie Kelman. And on the bench is Noah Phillips, Sean Clare, Azim Abdullah, Don Ball, Randall Williams, Jalang Jayasimi and Dan Adji. So, Glenn, we've touched on maybe fixture congestion, but you're confident coming into today, aren't you?
I am confident coming in today. What Richie did on Tuesday when we went down to 10 men, taking Kelman off, taking the other 2, Galbraith wasn't it, and Donnelly off in early in the second half. I thought it was the right thing. I saw a few supporters having a whinge and having a moan, as they will do, because they want to go and win every game. I understand that, but the manager's a sensible guy. He's looking at the bigger picture. He's looking at today and the future fixtures. So it was the right thing to do, I think, doing that, providing we get a result today. I'm confident with our team, what we've got on the pitch, if we're firing on all cylinders and we perform and we're really energetic and intense the way we can be, I think we'll blow Charlton away today.
Confident indeed. Let's take a look at the attacking kind of setup that Richie's gone for. Now, probably got the 2 quickest, most direct players on the bench in Williams and Adji. What does that tell you about the approach Richie's going for here with Sonny on one wing and Dylan Markanday on the other?
Yeah, I think most of the team picks itself. I think probably coming into this game, the big question was who is he going to play on the wings, and I think Mark Andy was unlucky on Tuesday, a victim of circumstance with the sending off. He finally got his start for the first time in a few games and obviously had to be sacrificed. So maybe Richie feels like he owes him something there. He's worth a go. Maybe he's performing well in training and he has showed glimpses that he can be a really good player. And I think he is one of those players where he'll benefit with more space and he'll benefit when we're playing a little bit more on the counter-attack. I think in terms of the different profiles of the wingers, I think Markanday is maybe one of the only wingers we've got in the squad who tries to get in behind and makes those out-to-in runs and is very direct. He showed that in the Reading game where he got his goal and created a couple of chances through that. So I think maybe that's the game plan today. Get the ball to Galbraith and Donnelly. We know how good they are at feeding through balls and then look for the runs of Markanday.
They should be nice and fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Sonny as well, you know, but some supporters might be saying, why isn't Adji starting? You know, he's had a lengthy spell on the sidelines, managing his minutes. We've got clear quality on that bench, but Richie evidently trusts these young lads as well, Dylan and Sonny on either wing.
He does, yeah, and I think it's an opportunity for him today. They're getting a starting shirt. They obviously need to put in a good performance, because if they want to keep the shirt with what's on the bench and the talent we have on the bench, if they do a good job, then they're within their rights. So if they get dropped for the next game, go and knock on the manager's door. But if they put in a really good performance, that won't happen. And then it's for the other guys it's healthy competition within the squad. It's like, you've got your chance. Can you keep your shirt? Can you do well for Orient? You know. But what we've got on the bench, I think they don't call them substitutes now, do they? They call them game changers, which is so ridiculous. But the game changers on the bench, they could be game changers. You look at the pace and the power we've got in them forward areas. Maybe we're thinking if it is tight, Charlton could be getting a bit tired. Bring on those two, pace, power, could scare the life out of them.
Certainly could. But listen, let's talk about Sonny Perkins as well. He's last out in here in E10, 2 goals against Lincoln. You know, he's someone who's really grown into this Orient side, and I don't think we've even seen the full extent of what he's about yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those in the full context of time. We'll look back at getting him on a permanent this January as a really important signing, because I think he's one of those players that when you get to that young age and you're so hyped up and then kind of it falls flat a bit, you have a loan or two that doesn't quite go successfully, you need to rebuild your confidence, and people forget that you're just still a young player making your way in the game, because as you've got that reputation behind you. So it feels like Richie's given him that confidence now, and he looks like he's playing with it. I think he's a player that looks after the ball very well. I think he can pick the ball up, and you can be sure that he's probably going to at least give it to someone and will retain the ball, and I think Richie values that. And then the other thing with him is like we saw against Lincoln, he's a goal threat. He's a very good finisher. He gets in good positions, and that's his key strength, I think.
Do you know what I was surprised with him? His stature. He's a big guy. I didn't realise that at first, but seeing him up close, he's a big guy. I would like him. Yes, he's young. He's going to fill out a bit, or get in the gym a bit more, or have a pint of Guinness maybe. I think once he gets a bit stronger and he learns how to use his body in a combative way, he'll be something very special.
And not to take away from either of the wingers' abilities, but when you've got Jamie Donnelly in the 10, I think I'd back you two on the wings. Donnelly's that good, putting the strings in there, and with Kelman ahead of him in that vein of form and that confidence. We said it on Tuesday, and obviously that sending off marred things slightly. It doesn't matter who we play. You look at this team and you go, Donnelly, Kelman ahead of him, they're cooking.
Yeah, definitely. I was speaking to a friend of mine who's a Birmingham City season ticket holder after the game, and he was so pleased we had somebody sent off. He was like, we did not fancy that game Tuesday night one bit, because they had a few injuries. Yes, we had injuries. He said going into that, he said we were not scared. We were concerned at how well Orient are doing, and it's not just a sort of flash in the pan. How we've sustained that run since December, and how good we are. We've signed some good players. Richie and the coaching staff have got a team playing really well, and the understanding that the team spirit within the camp is phenomenal from what we see and what we hear. I just think we've had a little dip with the last couple of games. For whatever reason, we haven't picked up any points, but it will be a real statement if we come back today and get the 3 points against a good Charlton side who are on a good run themselves. But like I said earlier, if we're at it today, I can't see any problem.
Let's talk about the red card incident. There's been a lot of talk about it. Howard Webb said it wasn't a red. I think the ref even said it wasn't a red, but somehow, no conspiracy theories here, the appeal board said it wasn't. No comments. But it did change the game. But however, confidence can be taken from that. The performance on Tuesday night, whilst it was a slog for 80 minutes against an extra man, confidence can be taken there, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Look, for 10 minutes, we were probably the better side against Birmingham. We looked really comfortable. It looked like it was going to be a really competitive game, and obviously the ref ruined that with a controversial red card. And the way that Richie handled it, I think, was perfect. I think Glenn's already mentioned it in terms of, look, these players need a rest. The amount of games we have, you can't keep flogging them to death. And the likes of Kelman and Galbraith and Donnelly, there are three most important attacking players at the minute. So you had to give them the rest. But the way we defended, the spirit we showed, and the fact that with 10 minutes to go, despite playing pretty much the whole game with 10 men, it was still only 1-0, shows that we're a resolute side and we can perform when we have our backs against the wall. And I think maybe it can have that galvanising effect. We feel we've been wronged. Let's use that to our advantage. Let's play into that and let's use it as a strength today.
Don't ask me about that penalty. The sending off decision is more controversial than Trump-Zelensky last night. It's ridiculous. It is crazy. It is crazy. I don't want to get involved. It's happened. Curry's got a 3-game ban. It is what it is. We move on.
I don't know where that leaves us with the political chat, but no, it was never a red, and less said about politics at the moment, the better, eh? Moving on though, let's just a quick reminder that today's game, of course, is available to stream on Orient Live if you're an international fan. If you're watching along on our YouTube stream from the UK as well, you can pick up an audio pass for just £10. Coverage has started already, of course, and kick-off is just over 15 minutes away, so make sure you head over to the match centre and pick up your pass to watch or listen along with us here on Orient Live. But now it's time to hear from another club legend. It's time for Mr. Terry Howard.
Terry, London derby against Charlton today, and it looks like a perfect day for it, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I say, nice bit of warmth. Well, in the sun it is. It's still quite cold in the shade, but perfect day for football. Great game against our London neighbours, so I think we're all looking forward to it.
Just how big a game is it today? Because as well as being London neighbours, I mean, we're also level on points, aren't we? And you know, we're currently in 6th at the moment. They want that spot, so just how big is it?
It's huge, isn't it? I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. You know, everything's becoming, you know, from going, oh, maybe we'll be in the playoffs. Now there's a real chance of the playoffs. So these games get bigger every week. And the fact that both teams are battling for the same sort of area, it makes it a huge game today.
And when you're in our shoes, we're coming off the back of maybe a little bit of a sense of injustice. Is this the kind of game that you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought it was an awful decision in the week to send Jack Curry off. And it was so early in the game, you know, it killed us. You'd like to think there'd be a reaction from the players in the right way. Starting today, as I say, that we were in a tough run of games. We knew it was going to be tough. We had a great victory at Wrexham. Okay, we lost at Bolton, and then, as I say, circumstances out of our control, we've lost at Birmingham. So today, you know, we get a win today, and it kind of makes you forget about those things pretty quickly.
Whenever we do these interviews, you always push the importance of making a fast start. Is that the same again for you today?
Absolutely. You would think, look, you know, London derbies that I played in, they're frenetic usually. Most derbies are. So you would think both sides will be quite going at it from the start today. You know, it might be one of them days where there isn't a great amount of football played because both teams won't let the other settle. Today is purely, I know Eddie reeks about the result, but the performance isn't that important today. It's all about the result today.
And if you include Tuesday's stoppage time, it was 90 minutes with 10 men for us. So this place is completely sold out today. How much of a difference can these fans make, and how much of a difference will we need them to make?
As always say that the fans are very important. You know, if the boys do need a little bit of picking up, let's hope the crowd are, I say that for the team to start fast. It's important the crowd start fast as well. Get them invested in the game. Always helps if you have a fast start, as I say. But I don't think that'd be a problem today because of the magnitude of the game, our neighbours, and what it all means. So I think the fans and players alike will be on it early.
The atmosphere is building here in the Gotham Group Stadium, and of course don't forget that there are only 5 regular home fixtures left here in E10 before the season is up, and what a special season it is poised to be. And here are the final 5 on your screens. Now tickets are available for all these fixtures, so if you can, make sure you pick up your match ticket to get yourself down to E10 and get behind the boys for what could be a very special 5 games. Hey, you might even have an extra game or 2 at the end of it as well. Who knows? Just a quick word on the defence then as well. We've touched on the red card. We won't go any deeper into that, but it means Jaden Sweeney starts, and he's someone he actually played very well against Wrexham.
Second half.
Yeah.
Wrexham were good that first half, and they targeted him, didn't they, down that right hand side, our left. He had to find his feet. Second half he came out and he was brilliant that second half. First half he was sort of caught in the headlights a bit, I thought, but Wrexham were good.
I mean, he was good on Tuesday night as well against Birmingham. Yeah. Potentially fouled for their first goal even.
Yeah, first goal.
It's a chance for him today, isn't it, to establish that?
Yeah, we know what he's like. We all love him. He's one of our own, as they say. He's come through the ranks. When he plays it, he gives it his all. I really like him. He's athletic, going forward. When we play a wing back and he can bomb forward, he's good in the air. I really like him. I think he'll do well today. Curry is a big miss because he's been superb. He has been in my top 3 players of the year for the O's this season. But Sweeney coming in, it's not like you're looking at the bench and you go, oh, someone's got to come in to replace somebody. He comes in and I've got no worries at all. No worries at all with Jaden Sweeney coming in because he's a very good player.
He certainly is. With that suspension though, Simpson injured, Happy injured, Omar injured, Curry suspended, it's Tom James injured. We're on thin ice, it feels.
Yeah, I think it's probably frustrating for Richie because we were struggling for wingers at one point, weren't we? With injuries to like Theo and Jordan Graham, and we've rectified that in January, and now we have an abundance of wingers. We're talking today about.
Sorry, mate, I'm going to stop you there. They're called wide forwards now.
But yeah, like you say, we're saying today it could be 2 of 5, whereas now in defence we're on, like you say, thin ice. We're struggling a bit for squad depth, but on Sweens, I think Jordan Graham summed it up probably perfectly on co-coms on Tuesday night when he said when Sweens is at it and he's confident, he's a really, really good defender, especially 1v1. And I think we saw that the Wrexham game. He probably came in from the cold a little bit, needed a little bit of time to get up to speed, and then the second half probably got a bit of a rocket from Richie and a bit of instruction from the assistant coaches, and he was a different player second half, and he's been that ever since. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing him today, and have no doubts it will come in and deputise well.
Do you know what helped in that second half? We kept the ball a lot more than we had in that first half of Wrexham, which gave him time to adjust, and it wasn't in that first half. Wrexham, a period of time, they would just attack after attack after attack, and it's hard to recover if you make a mistake or you're just out of position and then it's coming back at you. It's your head goes sometimes, you know. Second half, we as a team kept the ball a lot better and done really well. It gave him time to settle and then he could impose himself on the game.
And he's also, of course, got today and then 2 more games to really kind of cement his place in the squad. But someone who has taken his opportunity since joining. He maybe didn't expect to have played so many games, but with the injuries, he's in there and he's performing really well. Romari Edmonds-Green. How impressed have you been with him?
Yeah, he's good. He's probably got in the side earlier or played more games than he probably expected. Looking at the sort of centre halves we've got when he's come to the club, he's got his opportunity and he's got to play, and it's sink or swim. You're thrown in the deep end basically. He's got the experience. He's played games at a high level. He knows the game. He's quick. It's just about getting that match fitness, you know. As reading the game and everything else is fine. He's got that football intelligence. It's about getting up to speed, knowing your teammates, knowing your fullback, where he goes, where do I need to cover, how we play systems, everything else. And then your centre half partner. If that changes, he's had Cooper. I don't know who else has played in there. He's come on. He's played with Dan Happy and whoever else. It's learning about your teammates, but he's settled down. He's come in. He seems to be in the right positions. Wide balls what come into the box. He always seems to read the game well. His clearances, he gets his head on stuff, and he's just getting better and better. And I really like him. I think it's a good signing. At the time, people were saying, why are we getting another centre half? This is exactly why we're getting another centre half, because it was needed, and we could do with another one actually at the moment.
And that's what we're going to. Yeah, we certainly could. We'll take a look at some of his individual highlights since joining, of course, from Charlton. So he's got a bit of a point to prove today. But I say individual performances because I mean an assist here, maybe lucky. But whilst the defence is obviously a unit, he's actually pulled us out some holes at points.
Yeah, I think like we're seeing here, his recovery speed there and his timing of his tackles is brilliant. He's so athletic. I don't think he's the biggest in terms of centre backs, but he gets up really well. He's got a really good leap on him, and he, like Glenn's mentioned, he reads the game well. And probably the biggest thing for a centre back in this system that Richie Wellens likes to play, he's really comfortable on the ball as well. He can come out with it, he can take it, he can pass it, and distribute it, and that makes a big difference to how our build-up goes as well.
It certainly does, and he's going to have a certain mark on. Maybe on Charlton's name, really. He didn't play too much football. He's showing them in a big, let's be honest, a 6-pointer at this stage of the season. This could be massive for him personally.
He's got a point to prove today. Hopefully he does it in the right way and doesn't sort of get a bit too enthusiastic and get a card or two. Obviously Charlton have let him go. When a player goes, whether it's for money or not, that means your parent club at the time don't want you. It's very hard when you're not loved and you want to prove a point. He's going to want to prove a point today. He's going to have a bit of I think he's going to have a stormer today. I don't think he's reckless. I don't think he will lose his head and try and do too much. I think he'll just be a solid defender today. And if he gets the opportunity to come up and score a set piece, wouldn't that be the cherry on top?
Certainly would. Well, let's see. He might get in amongst the goals. It'd be a good time to get his first one for the club against his former side, Charlton Athletic. And with just over 5 minutes until the full match coverage, let's take a look and see how the visiting team are shaping up for this afternoon's fixture. And starting in goal for the Addicts is William Mannion. Across the back line, we have Josh Edwards and Kane Ramsey in the fullback positions, with Macaulay Gillespie and the captain Lloyd Jones in centre-back, with Roy Anderson, Connor Coventry in midfield, Tyrese Campbell and Thierry Smoore, as Glenn would call the wide forwards, with Luke Berry also in the middle of the pack, with Matt Gooden leading the line. And on the bench for Nathan Jones's team is Tommy Reid, Tom McIntyre, Greg Doherty, Tanai Watson, Alex Gilbert, Miles Leeburn and Chuks and Nike. So just a very quick word on them. It's all about Orient here, of course, but we've got to look at them. They're very close to us points-wise, very close to us geographically-wise, brought a lot of fans, and it's just it feels like a very close game to call, this one.
Yeah, and I could be wrong because Richie Wellens has proved me wrong before, but I expect this to be a really tight, physical game, and I know Richie says it a lot, but it's one of those games where you just win your duels and you do the basics first, and then maybe, like we've said before about how the strength of Orient's bench can come into it, and you can come into the game later on. As long as you keep it tight and you're not out of the game by 60, 70 minutes, then you can kind of push on. And I think that's kind of aligns with how Nathan Jones sets his teams up. I think they're very aggressive, they're very front first, but they're very, very solid, and they play a three at the back formation, very, very good defensively, don't let up a lot of shots, and it's going to be a tough ask to break them down today.
10 goals for Matt Gooden, he's probably their danger man. They've got some Lee Byrne and Anike on the bench as well. They've got firepower and goals. We've got goals, our defence is leaky, not leaky, sorry, but short, shall we say. It's going to be, do you expect some goals here, Glenn?
Listen, it's the Blackwall Tunnel Derby today, and there's no bigger. It's going to be a good game. It's a London derby. There's a lot of supporters in the ground, which is great. They'll make noise. Both sets of supporters will make noise. How even's this game? We're level on points. Yeah. Level on points. Goal difference isn't too much difference. They're on a good run of form. We've lost a couple of games. it's exciting. I think it's going to be a cracker of a game. The fact that they play with 3 centre halves eats into our hands, because our wide forwards, or wingers as Brendan calls them, can exploit that space down the side.
I think quickly on that, I think for me personally, I think it's probably the biggest game since the National League season in terms of a league game. The League Two campaign was almost like a procession, wasn't it? We knew by this time of the season we were up. We didn't have that many 6-pointers. We didn't have that many crucial games, and this feels like a real 6-pointer today.
I think the 6-pointer was the beginning of the season when we hadn't won. That game, that first one we won, that was big for us, because that set us on a roll. So Charlton, don't give them all them plaudits. It's just
no, but I know where you're. We see where Brendan's coming from. This does feel big. 3 points today would not only propel us into that playoffs that we've dropped out of due to matches being played in the early kickoffs. We put a bit of breathing space between us and Charlton, Reading, and your Barnsleys.
Biggest thing for me today, obviously points. Don't come off that pitch losing the game. If we do lose the game, which I don't expect us to, it's all about goal difference. Goal difference is going to be key, because there's so many teams in and around similar points at the moment with games to go. It could come down to goal difference, so we need to really be aware of that. If things go wrong and we get an early sending off, if we've got another dodgy ref, who knows? We need to be wary, and that's what I was pleased about Birmingham, that it wasn't a cricket score.
Well, boys, you've been box office. Hopefully the match that is about to commence is going to be equally entertaining. Right, it's time to hand over now to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.